All right, lads and lasses, and g'day, mates. Welcome to another episode of the Tune Under podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's #1 source for all things Newcastle United. How you doing? How's your day going, everyone? How's your Thursday turning out? It is 8 p.m. here in Australia. It's probably, about 11 o'clock in the morning in the UK. We've been waiting all week for the new fixture list to come out for the next season, and it finally dropped just a couple of hours ago. So we've just dived on to do a very short podcast just to talk through some of the main the main points of the new fixture list. We'll get at that in just a minute. But joining me today to do that is Marky Mark. Feeling the good vibrations. There's a throwback to the 90s for you, Mark. In the ESPN studio, Studio Joke. How are you going?
No, I'm doing okay. I actually completely forgot it was Thursday today, to be honest. I'm working as if it's a Wednesday, so yeah, news to me. But we'll take it. One day closer to the weekend than I thought.
Too right, mate. Friday tomorrow. Get in. Yeah. And Keegan, our new T-boy of the podcast. First time having a podcast with you, Keegan. Nice to see you. Nice to speak to you. How the hell are you doing? You're down in Victoria, aren't you?
Yes, cold and wet. Geelong.
Oh, you're actually in Geelong, are you?
Yeah, standard winter.
Right. That's why you support Geelong then. Fair enough. Supporting your local football team. Fair enough.
The underrated wine region.
Really?
Yeah.
How's the beer? That's what I want to know about.
Cold. Like everything else.
That'll do. Fair enough. Loving the shirts, by the way. Quality. Looks like you're not in a hostage video like last time. So that's all good.
Got released.
Please save me, Prime Minister.
Yeah.
All right. Nice one. Well, welcome along, lads. Welcome to everybody who's listening or watching the show. We're going to take a very short break and then we'll get into the newly released fixtures. Here we go. Alrighty. Let's get the new fixtures up. Hot off the press, steaming hot in our hands. And here's the first round of fixtures. First week of the next Premier League season. And for the sixth time out of the last 7 Premier League seasons, we are at home again. And this time it is to newly promoted Nottingham Forest. Forest, of course, huge club, got a lot of European success back in the 70s and 80s, I think it was. Really huge club. Haven't been in the top flight since they were relegated in the 99 season. Last time we met them in the league was in the Championship of 2016, which we won 3-1. Get in. And the last Premier League meeting was in that 1999 season. It was away at the City Ground, which we also won 2-1. Get in. So, just for the benefit of people who aren't watching, I'll just read through these fixtures very quickly for the first opening week. It is Crystal Palace against Arsenal, Bournemouth against Villa, Everton against Chelsea, Fulham against Liverpool, Leeds against Wolves, Leicester against Brentford, Spurs against Southampton, Man United against Brighton, and West Ham against Man City. And of course, as I say, it's Newcastle at home to Nottingham Forest. So Keegan, you're the new boy. Where's my tea? I'll let you go first. What do you make of our first game of the season against the fallen giant of the game, really, Nottingham Forest?
Well, I don't think you could ask for a better start than a newly promoted team at home the first week of the season. And we did say in our group chat that Forest would probably get a big side in their first week, being the club they are. And we were right. They got one.
Doesn't come much bigger, mate. Doesn't come much bigger at all.
They got the biggest fish.
They did. Would you have said, so you reckon that's actually probably the best fixture we could have hoped for out of all of those teams, including the other
two promoted teams were at home, so they're the only one that drew away, and we were lucky enough to draw them, which is fantastic, I reckon. Yeah, I agree with you. Mark, what are your thoughts on that? Initially, we thought that was going to be a TV pick because it's Nottingham Forest, huge club, against Newcastle, massive club, as we all know. But according to the good folks at Newcastle, rather NUFC.com, and in fact, I think you've seen the fixtures now as released by the Premier League, this game will definitely not be on the TV. So what do you reckon of this fixture?
No, so to be honest, the game itself, I'm actually pretty happy with. I don't think you could want not a winnable game, but an easier game. Out of the newly promoted sides, I guess there's always that fear of a team that's just come up that's riding a high, and the first game of the season they're going to be pumped up for it. Certainly, Nottingham Forest coming up through the playoffs, I don't think is as much of a danger card as say, a Fulham who romped the league and will be properly on a high from that. So it'll be interesting to see how Fulham do against Liverpool, and Fulham will be at home for that. So no, I think as far as Newcastle is concerned, having a home game to start with obviously gets the crowd buzzing again. Hopefully we can start from where we left off at the end of last season with Arsenal and get a good performance and 3 points on the board. As you said, the fixtures have been released. The Premier League website actually has all of the Sky Sports live games on, and a BT Sport game already on there. So they've already decided we are not one of the live games for the weekend. So Friday night sees Crystal Palace against Arsenal live on Sky Sports. Saturday early kickoff is Fulham against Liverpool on BT. And then Everton-Chelsea is the late kickoff on Saturday. And then the Sunday games is the early kickoffs, Man U against Brighton and West Ham against Man United, sort of finishing the weekend off. So 5 games live on TV, all 5 of them involving teams from the Big Six. Spurs are the only ones missing out. I'm not sure they'll be happy at that, given they're the ones that finish in the Champions League positions. But, it is what it is. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know about you, though, but I'm just really looking forward to seeing Nottingham Forest in the top flight again. It's been far, far, far too long. Huge club, obviously Brian Clough and everything else that goes with it. I'm really looking forward to see how they do in the league, in the big league. And I guess people like Fulham, that was obviously Mitrovic just going nuts again with all the goals in the Championship, wasn't it? He loves to score goals in the Championship, but I don't know, man. It remains to be seen at the 3rd or 4th attempt if he's going to do it this time in the Premier League.
I guess that game on itself, I think everyone's going to have their eyes on Mitro for Fulham. Can he sort of keep going after he banged the goals in left, right, and centre last season for them in the Championship? And there's always that question mark whether or not he's one of those players that's too good for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premier League. Like our own Dwight Gale, to be honest. But obviously Liverpool's going to have Nunez sort of showcasing for them up front. So a lot of eyes on that for where the goals are going to come from. I mean, the big thing with the Nottingham Forest game for me is they're hunting around a few decent players. There's chances that we may sell some of our players to them. There's talk of them trying to get Dean Henderson a lot cheaper than what we've been quoted when our interest was muted. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them in terms of their recruitment. Obviously, they're the first season back. They're going to want to strengthen to stay up, but it's been a while since they've been in the Premier League, so finances maybe not quite what they need to make some splash signings. But look, they're storied history with the club, so it's good to have them back up in the top flight.
Oh, it is tremendous. I've just had a thought as well. If they sign Henderson, they probably won't go in for Darlow, will they?
No.
Which means, I think we need to sign a new keeper anyway, just as either backup or to take the place of Dubravka. But yeah, Darlow. I kind of thought him and Lascelles might get the boot, or might get that kind of twang to go back to their previous club, Nottingham Forest. Oh God. Please don't sign Henderson in that case. Just a quick start. This is actually the first time we've been drawn to a team outside of London since the 2015-26 season when we got Southampton away and we drew that game. So nice to have a team not in the capital. So just quickly, since this is a promoted team that we will be facing, just a very quick bit on who we played last season from the newly promoted teams, which were, of course, Watford, Norwich and Brentford. We played 6 games in the league. We'll ignore the pre-season friendly against Norwich. So we played 6 games in the league. We won 2, drew 4, didn't lose any at all. So that leads me on nicely to score prediction. Let's take a prediction from Keegan first. How do you see this Newcastle against Forest game going?
I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. I think we'll be better than them. Hopefully, we should have some better players than what we finished with at the end of last year as well. So, yeah, I'll go 3-1.
I will definitely take a 3-1. It'd be lovely to win your first game of the season, wouldn't it? Yeah. Do you want to take a stab at who might score the goals?
Yep. Wilson will score.
If he's not injured.
Yeah, if he's playing, he'll score. Maxi will score, and a new signing will score.
Maxi and a new signing. Blimey. All right, fair enough. Mark, same question. What do you reckon?
It's a tough one at the moment because hopefully we have got a bit more spending to be done before the window shuts. So our starting lineup for that game could be looking a lot different than what we maybe expect it to right now. As Keegan said, I think Wilson will probably score in that game, assuming he is fit. It's about who we can get in and around him, who else is playing. I'm going to go for a 2-0 with Wilson and Bruno.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. That was mine. 2-0 win. I was going to say Bruno for 2 of them because I kind of think something's going to happen in pre-season. He'll probably have like an exploding knee or something, but just out of bloody luck, especially the way he finished the last season as well. Oh, man, come on. It's always the same, man. You think, oh, yeah, here we go. We've finally got a good striker back after months and months on the sidelines, and he'll frigging explode halfway through the pre-season or something, and we'll be left with Gale if he hasn't gone, and Chris Wood will be absolutely.
We're definitely a better side with Wilson in it, though. Completely different kettle of fish. So
absolutely, the guy knows where the goal is. I'm still in my head. I'm still replaying that shot that he took from just beyond the halfway line. Where he kind of. As much as anything else, that control in his chest was sensational, and he shakes off his man, twists, slices on the outside of his boot, and it almost went in. Oh my god!
I was literally in line with that, directly behind him as he struck that ball when I was at the game, and it looked for all the money like it was going in. It was just heading straight through the goal and just curled away at the last minute. It was absolutely gut-wrenching. Would have been an absolute class goal for him to score. He deserved another one in that game. I thought he played absolutely fantastically well. Ran Arsenal ragged at the back there. So yeah.
What a game to be at. Wasn't at all jealous.
No.
Fair enough. All right, so I'm going to go for 2-0. I'll probably go Bruno and Wilson as well. I think that's pretty much nailed on. Oh, maybe it's Wilson too. It depends who's on the field and who's not. All right, so that's 2-0, a 2-0, and a 3-1. So also as a quick heads up, since you just mentioned it before there, Mark, that will be a 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday. And I guess, unless something changes, we'll be doing a live watch-along. So for everyone who likes our live watch-alongs, bear that in mind, stick it in your calendar. You don't want to miss it. Opening game of the season, Tune On the Podcast, doing a live watch-along for that game. Should be good. Cannot wait. And right, so let's move on to the other fixtures. I'll just zoom out a little bit here. So thanks to Newcastle United, which put this out and I completely nicked. So these are the fixtures for the entire season. Obviously, I suppose some of these dates are subject to change once they get round to getting picked by the broadcasters. I've highlighted in red some of the ones that I think are interesting for one reason or another. So I'll just start off. I'll just read out the first month, since that's the first thing upon us, and then I'll just mention some of the other ones. And so we're starting off with Nottingham Forest. On the 20th of August, we will have Man City at home. And then on the 31st of August, we have Liverpool away. So, especially since Brighton finished above us, and Wolves did all right as well. On the whole, I think that's actually a fairly difficult starting month to the season. Would you lads agree there?
I'll look Brighton away for the second game is never going to be easy. We've had a decent record against them. But not down there. It's going to be one of those tough games. Wolves away as well. So two teams that were probably in the mix with in terms of in and around where we would like to finish from this season going through to next season. It's going to be tough games away. So if we can get some points from those games, that's going to be vital for our season to get off to a decent start. Obviously, Man City and Liverpool, never going to be easy games. Man City at home, look, it's always a little bit wishful thinking, but it's going to be hard to kind of get anywhere near those two clubs with the players that they've actually signed this off season so far, and probably not finished yet. So we'll see how that goes. But look, if we can come away from those opening 5 games with 6 or 7 points, maybe even 9 points, then I'll be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah. we'll come to a prediction for the first 10 games in a little bit. So skipping through September and October, kind of a mixed bag for those 2 months. November, last game of the half season, I suppose, before we go on to the World Cup, is against Chelsea at home. And then when the league returns on Boxing Day in December, it is against Leicester City away. I suppose that could have been worse. It could have been down in London or something. So maybe it's not too bad. And then the last game of December and of the year will be at home to Leeds United. And then the first game of January the 2nd, is away to Arsenal. Anything giving you some pause for concern there, Keegan? Or, obviously Chelsea before the World Cup, might be nice to finish on an easy game to get a win, would you say?
Yeah, it would be, but we're still at home, and who knows, we're a good team at home. So, I mean, we should have beaten them down there last season, so there's no reason why we can't give them a game at home and take 3 points off them, that's for sure.
Yeah, less said about that game, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody referees. So also, we played Chelsea again last game of the season. So whereas last season it was against Burnley and we all thought, oh, Jesus Christ, I hope that doesn't come down to us having to beat Burnley on the last game of the season. This time it's against Chelsea. I suppose the same rule applies, though. We could still be looking for points at the end of the season, and Chelsea will be the last game. Mark, anything out of those fixtures I've highlighted in red that jump out here, or any other fixtures for that matter that are kind of jumping out?
I'm not too stressed about Chelsea being the last game for the World Cup break. I think it's at home. I think we'll be able to kind of give our all in that game. I don't think we'll have as many players off to the World Cup as potentially Chelsea will. I mean, obviously we don't know until we finish the transfer window, but potentially our players will then have a bit of a break. Obviously Bruno's probably heading off to the World Cup, and maybe a few others, but it doesn't stress me. What I want to know is, when was the last time we actually had a home game for Boxing Day?
Oh, Christ, no idea.
There's never any public transport running, and it's always an away game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I didn't have time to dig that stat out, but yeah, I'd be interested to know what that is. Maybe someone in the tweets on Twitter later on can let us know when that was. Well, it's Leicester City, so it's not that far away, is it, Leicester? It's kind of halfway down the country, I think, if I'm getting the geography right. So
it's definitely could be worse.
Could have been worse, yeah. Right, so that's the slides. I'll leave that on the screen, actually. No, I'll move along to the next one. So here is some interesting stats that our statman Craig up in Cairns there put together for us. He ran the numbers. And just wanted to look at what our total points have been from the first 10 games of the season over the last decade or two. If you go all the way from 2000, you've got your 14 points, your 16s, your 15s, your 12s, your 17s. Then Mike actually happens. And then suddenly it's, 14s, 13s, 6, 3, God almighty, 4 last season. I mean, absolutely hideous points total from the first few games of the last 10 years in the Premier League. Absolutely shocking. The only good one that stands out there is 11-12 season, which was the one we went into Europe with, 21 points. So if you count up the last 10 years in the top flight, not the whole lot, just the last 10, for argument's sake, ignoring those championship ones, we'll have an average of just over 11 points after the first 10 games out of a possible 30. So a third of the points by average. Absolutely lifting. So I'm just going to bring these fixtures back up so you can see that green line on the screen here, which is just below Brentford in October. So I'll read out the fixtures again up to that point. Nottingham Forest at home, Brighton away, Man City at home, Wolves away, Liverpool away, Crystal Palace at home, West Ham away, Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, and then we end with Brentford at home. Those are the 10 games. You've just seen on average over the last 10 years in the Premier League, it's been around about 11 points. What would you say your prediction was, if you can do one, for those first 10 games? I'll go with Keegan first.
I had us for 17.
17.
Optimistic, but I mean, I think we can beat Forest, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Brentford. I think we can win all them games. And we can get a point at Brighton, Wolves, and West Ham. So, yeah, Brighton, and that'd be it. that'll be a cracking start, and probably lose to City and Liverpool. But I think our first 10 games is actually a pretty good start.
Yeah, I could definitely been worse. Yeah, I think probably 17's around about the right area. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, I think 17, 18, 19, somewhere around that mark. I'm not confident about Fulham. Fulham away, we never seem to play well going down there. Tiny ground. Or I keep getting flashbacks to Mark Schwartz's performance where I think we had like 27 shots on goal in the first half and he just saved everything that came his way. A little bit of traumatized from that one, but there's some winnable games there. I think if we can pick up points in some of the ones that maybe we aren't overly confident at, then let's see how we go. But yeah, 17 or 18 points I think is potentially doable.
Yeah. I think we'll beat Forest, as I've already said. I think we'll beat Brighton away. We broke that duck last season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Wolves probably draw, so 2-4-5. Palace at home will win. We should have Dimmy on. Nostra Dimmy. He'd be able to tell us exactly what the score will be.
What a waste. We won't need to do a podcast. He could just send a tweet in and then that'll be it.
Stick a bet on. Never see him again. 3, 6, 9. I think we'll probably beat Bournemouth. West Ham probably be a draw. Fulham will probably draw. And Brentford will probably win because that's at home as well. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, I think probably around about 15 points for me. Would you lot be happy with a 15-point return after the first 10 games? It's kind of half the point total.
Yeah, probably would be.
Given that we played City and Liverpool in the first 10 games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've, as I say, West Ham's probably not away. We've got a couple of tough away games. Wolves and West Ham and Fulham are not going to be easy. If we can do 15 to 17 points in those games, I think I'll be quite happy running into the Man United game, and then hopefully we can kind of go on a little bit of a run with Everton and Villa at home coming up, and then Southampton away. Potentially not the bogey side down there for us anymore. We've kind of picked up a few points down there over the last few seasons. So
did enjoy that one last season.
Exactly.
Whinging about that one. That was a sweet victory. Wasn't that one where Bruno did that back heel?
Yes,
that was Southampton, wasn't it? Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They'll be having nervous sweats thinking about us coming down there and doing that again, I think. Yeah. So after Brentford, Man United, Everton, Spurs, and Villa, and then November is Southampton, and then Chelsea before the break for the World Cup. So potentially 15 points in them first 10. Up to the World Cup, let's say probably, another 4 or 5 points. I think probably you're looking at maybe around about 20 points from the first half of the season, ish. Yeah, that's halfway to safety. Let's put it that way. Halfway to safety, halfway through the league. A lot better than it was last season. All right. That was essentially all I wanted to cover in this very short podcast on the new fixture release. Mark, Keegan, this is your chance to mention anything else that you might want to while we're all on the podcast. Anything you want to say?
No, I just quite looking forward to the new season. I mean, obviously we've got a load of work and a load of random in the know accounts spouting left, right, and centre for what players we are or aren't going to sign, changing on a daily basis. It's going to be a bit of a stressful off season, I think. But I wouldn't have it any other way. It's not so long ago we were rummaging around the bargain bin of football on the last game of the season, last day of the transfer window. Hoping to find somebody as this last minute loan deal, and now we're battling AC Milan to sign Sven Botman. It's one of those things where people are saying we should walk away, but I'm actually quite impressed that we're sticking with it, to be honest. It shows that they've got a little bit of battle in them to get those players. And let's be honest here, it's like, we're not the club that everyone wants to come to right here and right now. We may be down the path, but the fact that we're still in the race for a team against a team that has Champions League football to offer, I think is credit to the owners for sticking in there. And even if it doesn't come off, look, we'll have other targets lined up, but we're proving we're not going to be a pushover in terms of what we're going to pay. But we're after some top tier talent. And I think if you're going after those sorts of players, you're always going to have a little bit of competition from some of the other big hitters in world football. So bring it on. I'm loving this window so far.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think that's what it's all about, isn't it, Keegan? This closed window, this transfer window, it's all about hope and excitement about what we might do now that we have the financial resources to challenge for proper, decent players instead of scraping around the barrel for any old crap that you can find on a loan deal, probably. That's the difference this transfer window, isn't it? It's exciting for once in ages. It's actually really exciting for once.
Yeah, like 12 months ago, we wouldn't sign Chowdhury on loan from Leicester. Now we're fighting the team who won Serie A for a central defender. I mean, it comes around pretty quick. And yeah, I'd much rather be linked to every good player around Europe and South America compared to fighting loan deals for bit part players at okay clubs. Like it's a fair difference. So I'd much rather be in our situation than what we were 12 months ago. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks for that contribution there, Keegan. Thank you very much, Mark, for your thoughts. That will do for us for this very short podcast. If you like what you saw or heard, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you for the next one very soon. Cheers, boys.
Catch you later.
On your way.